December is the perfect close for the year when it comes to astrophotography. The air cools down, the noise in your camera sensor drops, the stars just look way sharper than they do in the summer. You get longer nights, steadier conditions, and some of the most photogenic objects of the entire year. So if you've been waiting for the right time to try a new target, or maybe just level up your skills a little bit, this is the month to do it. In this video, I'm going to break down 5 targets that are absolutely worth your time in December. Talk about how easy they are to capture, what makes them unique, or what kind of gear works best for each one. I've got Stellarium on screen too, so you can follow along and see exactly where these objects are in the sky. Whether you're shooting with a simple setup or something more advanced, these targets are going to give you some of your best data all winter. So let's get into it. We're kicking things off with the Orion Nebula. A classic, but let's be honest. This object never disappoints. Whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for years, Orion is always worth shooting. It's bright, it's detailed, and it works with basically any gear you have. A lens, a refractor, a telephoto, whatever you bring outside, Orion will show up for you. When you zoom in, the first thing you notice is that bright white core. That's the trapezium cluster. Those stars are blasting out enough light to make the whole nebula glow. The cool thing is how it transitions from that sharp center into these soft, colorful outer layers. You get natural contrast without having to push your data too hard. December is perfect for this target because Orion climbs high into the sky later at night. Once it gets up there, you're shooting through way less atmosphere, which means cleaner detail and tighter stars. Plus, the cold air cuts down on camera noise, so even long exposures come out nice and smooth. If you want something that looks good right away, Orion's your best friend. And if you want something you can grow with, learning HDR, color calibration, star reduction, handles all of that too. Right next to Orion, we've got the Horsehead and Flame Nebulae. These two sit right beside Alnitak and Orion's belt. They make one of the cleanest wide field compositions in the whole winter sky. Flame is bright, shows up quickly. Horsehead is dimmer and takes a little bit more patience, but December gives you long nights to make that a whole lot easier. When you zoom into the area, the flame has these fiery orange shapes that pop out right away. It has strong structure that almost looks like smoke rising out of the star. The Horsehead is the exact opposite vibe. It has a dark silhouette which blocks out the red background glow. Looks like it was cut straight out of the nebula. The region looks incredible at almost any focal length. At 135 or 200, you get everything framed perfectly. With a small refractor, you get enough detail to bring out the texture in the flame and that shuttle horsehead shape. If you've already shot Orion, and you're ready for something slightly tougher, but still very doable, this is the perfect next target. Now let's move over to the Rosette Nebula in Monoceros. This one is huge, colorful, and incredibly satisfying to process. It's a massive cloud of hydrogen gas wrapped around a cluster of newly formed stars. If you want a big, bold nebula that fills your frame, the Rosette is perfect for that. The nice thing about December is that the Rosette rises early. Even if you're not trying to stay up all night, even though some of us do, you can still get a good few hours on it. And since it's so large, you don't need a long focal length. Telephoto lenses and small refractors frame it beautifully. If you've got a dual band or H-alpha filter, the Rosette will show some really deep red structure. But even with a simple DSLR mirrorless camera, it still looks fantastic. The texture is smooth, the colors blend well, and the center of the cluster gives it a natural focus point. It's one of those targets that feel dramatic without being difficult. Next up is the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. On the surface, it looks just like a bright cluster of blue stars. But once you start exposing it longer, that reflection nebula comes alive. The whole thing takes on this icy, dreamy glow. This target is great for learning exposure control, color balance, and gradient removal. Stars are extremely bright, so you have to avoid blowing them out, but the dust is faint, so you need longer exposures. That balance teaches you a lot about how your setup behaves. In December, the Pleiades climb almost straight overhead, which gives you sharp color, very little atmospheric distortion. A wide lens gives you the whole cluster with a lot of space around it. A longer lens, however, lets you zoom into those wispy blue dust clouds. Either way, it's one of the prettiest winter targets. Now, unlike some nebula, the Pleiades looks great with a completely stock camera. No filters required. And last, but certainly not least, we've got the famous Andromeda Galaxy. This thing is a powerhouse. It is the closest major galaxy to us, and it is way larger in the sky than most people realize. December is one of the best times to shoot it because it sits high during the early evening hours. When you frame it up, Andromeda stretches across more than 3 degrees of the sky, which means 85 or 135mm lenses are usually perfect for capturing the whole galaxy. You'll see the core, the dust lanes, and both outer arms in one shot. If you're using a telescope, you'll end up more focused on the core, which still looks great, but won't show the full spread. Either way, December gives you steady, clean data thanks to the colder temperatures. Andromeda is one of those targets you can return to every year and keep improving on. As your skills grow, your processing gets cleaner, the details get sharper. So, to recap, those are 5 amazing astrophotography targets for December: the Orion Nebula, the Horsehead and Flame, the Rosette, the Pleiades, and the Andromeda Galaxy. Winter skies really bring out the best deep sky objects, and December gives you long, steady nights to collect as much data as you want. This is the time of year when a lot of people fall in love with our hobby. Colors come through stronger, the stars look cleaner. You can capture beautiful images even with a simple setup. So don't be afraid to experiment. Try longer exposures, different focal lengths, even shoot the same target twice to see how much better you got. All of that practice adds up. And if the cold weather hits you as hard as it's hit me, layer up. Keep your batteries warm and bring something hot to drink. Trust me, it makes a bigger difference than you think. If you want me to put together a guide for January or make a list based on your lens or telescope, I got you. And if you want breakdowns on processing tips, color balance, filters, or even target difficulty, I can make those too. Alright, that's all for this one. Thank you for tuning in to this exciting episode of J4 Astrophotography. I'm John, and until next time, clear skies and keep looking up.